Excellent. So what have we got here,
Cool.
Naomi?
Well, Alan Henderson has said, how do you connect with someone when you don't know them? Don't you need to know their email address?
When you don't know them.
If they're out of your network,
yes.
then often, if they're third or fourth degree,
Okay.
yes, you do, don't you?
Okay, so there's a couple things I can share here for you, Alan. Okay, let me go to the platform as well. I've got a... No, excuse me, Alan. Just give me 1 second. Go to people you may know. So here we go. So I'm now on the platform. Hopefully you can all see that. Oh, hang on. That should have gone larger and it's just disappeared. I'm not sure what's happened just there. This is what happens when you go to the live platform. Hopefully that'll come up in just a moment. But the answer to your question, Alan, is yes, you do need their email. Okay, which is also another reason why you should be putting into your, which is why you should be putting into all your email accounts and your email addresses. So that if somebody has an old email address for you, then they can, if they put that into the connect button, or let me go to a practical example here.
If the person's in your second degree, then you just have to say how you know them, and it goes out. But if you say you know them in another context, then you do need their email address.
Yeah. So here's an example of, if we go to people, okay, so people you may know, I'm going over here. Okay, so here we go. Here's someone that I would like to connect. So imagine I'm trying to connect with Lena. Okay, so I open up Lena's profile. And here we go. Now I press connect. And so here's where we're talking about. So if you're other, what Alan is referring to is you would put their email address in here. Okay. Now, if I knew Lena's email address, I would put that in there right now. Okay. However, if I don't know Lena's email address, then you would have to state a reason other than that. You might put friend, and you might sort of suggest that you would like to become a friend, etc. with them. I would not suggest that. Often the other trick around this, what you can do, Alan, is that if it's someone you really want to connect with, then you want to find out what other groups they're part of. Okay, because if you share a group, let me see if I can go back to the page we were at. If you can share a group with that person, then it'll give you the opportunity to connect because you're in the same group. So if I went to, here we go, people you may know, and hopefully there's someone here that we share the same group with. I'll try one more chance of this happening. Okay. So let's see if we are part of the same group. So I would put connect. And no, it's not. So we don't share the same group. But if we were part of the same group, then what would happen is that I would be able to send this person, Kunle, I would be able to send him an invite based on that because we're part of the same group. The only exception to that is if he has changed his group setting changes or login details, or settings I should say. So if he's changed his group setting details, then he may restrict that, but most people don't. So what you could do is you could go down here, find out one of these groups, join one of those groups, and then you could then connect to him that way.
Yeah, and some people do have it set up that you have to have their email address. That happened yesterday when I was trying to connect with someone and I had to have their email address. And that's because that's their choice and they've set it up in the settings that way.
Yep. Okay. So hopefully there's a couple ideas for you. But again, just whatever you do, just make sure it's a personal approach and you send a personalized message on that front.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Well, Jatinda is asking, how do you turn on status updates? Mine seem to be missing. So if you go to do you want to just click on the home page there, Mike?
Mm-hmm.
This is an interesting one because when you click on the home page, you do have the ability at the top to put your status update in the top there.
So Jatinda, you should have this on up here. What you there's a couple of things that come to my mind based on that, but you should be able to have this update like you've got here. So you can type in hi on a webinar, etc. All right. And then you can choose who you put that update with. All right, that's one thing. You can also then filter your updates based on shares, connections, groups you're part of, profiles, your updates. So if I just press this one, for example, that'll give me just all the updates that I've done recently. Okay, so it's a way to filter your updates. But I think what you're really asking here is,
how do I turn them on? Mine seem to be missing. I would suggest they would be there.
Yeah, the other place you would want to go then.
She says, she's. I think we've answered that question.
Okay, good. The other place you go to is your settings here, where you would look to control your activity broadcast. So in your settings component, go to turn on, turn off your activity broadcast. The thing I'll just let you know, guys, is when you're doing changes to your profile, make sure you switch this off. Because what happens is every time you do a little update, if you just change your LinkedIn URL, private URL, or if you just amend your summary or amend your experience and put in a new photo, every time you do one of those little updates, it'll update your entire network. So when you're amending your profile, make sure you switch that off like this, and then you save changes. And then when you're about to then be proactive, you're finished, you're updating your profile, and you want to do updates and activity updates or broadcasts, then make sure you click that back on, and you'll be able to rock and roll. So I'm going to cancel that so that it doesn't make that change to my profile.
Okay, cool. And then Jatinda's got a question about groups as well, and Keith's got a comment to make about it too.
Okay.
It says, how do you comment in a group without everyone seeing those comments in your update feed? Is it possible to not have it come up in the things that you're doing so everyone can see it?
That is a good question.
It's an important one, I think.
yeah. So you'd go in the settings file here, Jatinda. So I'd recommend you're in the settings section of your profile. Again, to get to that, you go to your little picture at the top. Get down to privacy and settings, and you go to group companies and applications. And then group invitations, set the frequency of digest emails, turn off notification when joining groups. So, view applications, add applications.
And the other thing that Keith is just saying as well is that when you are in a group, most groups do have rules set by the group manager, so take a minute to read them before posting up inappropriate things, because sometimes you might have written a blog and you go jumping in there and say, everybody read my blog, and it's like, well, actually that's not what this group is about, please don't do it. And you really need to suss out whether your content's welcome there, and also put it in a way as well, because I run a group and I get people all the time wanting to tell me what they're up to. I'm like, my group rules are, actually I need you to communicate and have a discussion, so you can ask for people's opinions on it or their insights, but make it relevant as a friendship. Don't just blast your sales message at me.
I'd agree,
and that's one of the rules. Like, that's a really good distinction to have, because you don't want to be in the space doing that.
Definitely pay attention to the group rules. And my advice for being in groups is to look to engage. Just look to, if you're going to post something up there about an article you've written, maybe put some components in there, or maybe do a quick summary of it and say, hey, I'd love to get your feedback on it, and I'd love to get your thoughts on this, and this is my take on it. What's your take? So that way you invite conversation, you invite engagement around it. So, excellent. Brilliant.
Okay. And Brenda's having an issue with email updates that are going out, coming in more than she asks. She set them to get them when she wants them.
Yeah, exactly. So set digest emails. So if you go set the frequency of digest emails, you then basically have all your groups that you're part of here. You basically then just set daily digest email, weekly, no email at all. So you get to control the frequency of the emails that you receive.
Yeah, and hopefully if you just click save, it should work. And if that doesn't work and you really know you have clicked it, then I would contact LinkedIn directly.
Yeah.
If it's really not working.
I don't know why that would be the case, but definitely. But that's where you control. The count and settings there's a lot of versatility here.
Yeah. And then Ramila's got a question about endorsements.
Yes.
Should we be accepting them or should we not? I think that's an interesting one, because you can get endorsed for things you didn't know you did.
Yeah.
Or things that are really old. But luckily, LinkedIn have actually updated it. So, I mean, what Mike's showing right now, you can actually click off some of those things and say, no, I don't want to be endorsed.
I don't want to be known for that. I don't want to be known for that. I don't want to be known for that. Then I can click them off.
And then if you're in the edit mode as well, and you're down in your profile in the endorsements, you can actually rearrange them, take out things, put new things in. You're
exactly right. So you can control your endorsements. If you scroll down to the bottom, not to the bottom, but mine, it's a fair way down. Here we go. So you can actually then control, you can go to edit over here, edit skills and endorsements, edit mode. You can then deselect these. Okay, you can manage endorsements over here, so you can add and remove any of these if you want. Okay, you can reorder them if you'd like. You can then manage your endorsements here. So let's say, I've got 138 recommendations for entrepreneurship. I could actually take off, if this person and this person I didn't want to endorse me for that skill set, I can actually take that off. Okay, so you actually have some control over that as well. So, and my thing with endorsements, guys, again, it's another social etiquette faux pas for people, is that they believe that by just endorsing people for skills that they're actually doing people an advantage, and they're building the relationship. However, if you speak to a lot of people who've been endorsed for skills that they know this person knows that they don't have, or they haven't seen in action, then it's actually a credibility killer. So just be careful how you use endorsements. They can be, it's like leverage. It's a double-edged sword. They can work for you or work against you. Just make sure you're only giving endorsements for people that you know have those skill sets, and that you've seen them in action demonstrating that. Because if you endorse them for that, that'll add value, add credibility. But if you are just trying to impress someone for the sake of it, then then you're going to be damaging your brand, because they can say, "I don't know, I do that. How do they know I do that well?" They're endorsing you for it, and a number of people, that the noise is very high.
And when somebody has endorsed you, do you think that you should thank them, write to them, and thank them for endorsing you?
I think so.
Yeah,
absolutely. Again, it's these relationship builders, particularly if it's someone that you know that is that you'd like to connect with and build a relationship with.
Start a conversation.
Yeah, exactly. Hey,
start engaging with them.
Hey, it's been a while since we got in touch. Thanks for recommending me. I'm just curious if you'd like to catch up for a quick chat or something.
Yeah. But just to help with overload there, if you have no need to connect with them or reach out at this particular time, then don't feel under pressure to do it. You don't have to.
Exactly.
But if you see that actually there's a step forward you'd love to take with that person, then absolutely it's a great inroad.
It's a great way. Yep. That. Excellent. Good questions, guys.
Okay, so then Norman has a question. If you have two completely unconnected jobs careers, is it okay to have two different accounts with the same name?
Ooh.
Oh, do you know, actually, Norman, there is an opportunity for people, like for us, if we actually know you've got two profiles, LinkedIn will actually allow us to merge the two profiles, so therefore you can't keep them private, because I would actually see the whole lot in one place. I would have, my answer to that one, and this is something I deal with a lot in the accelerator session, is I would have to ask you why you want to keep them separate. Is there really a good enough reason? Does it affect your brand or how people will perceive you? And will it pull away from your brand if people knew you had the two? And the reason being is if you get your story right as to why you do what you do and you put that in your summary, you can actually really enhance who you are. And you really do have to get that right, because we'll cover this in the profile session that's coming up. I was talking to someone the other day, and she was now setting off in her acting career, and really courageous decision. She'd been really proactive, put a show reel together, and she said, when I talk to people and I tell them, I work in the creative space, and when I tell them that's what I'm doing, they give me so much respect. And I'm like, that's brilliant. When you tell people, you've got it correct. However, what she had done was put it in the top of her profile, so it's the first thing you saw, and after that you saw that she was a business consultant, and it actually made you wobble in terms of like, oh, do I trust her as a business consultant if she's an actress? But actually, if she moved it around and just got that perception just spot on, it would be like, okay, she's a business consultant, she works in the creative space. Oh, wow, look at this. This person's got no limiting beliefs and she's totally going off and doing this other thing. And therefore, the reaction she gets face to face can actually be achieved online too. It's just how you present it online.
Yeah.
And sometimes it really is just a case of the story, like the justification as to why you've got two unrelated jobs and what it means to you. Because that's okay if it means something to you.
And think about it from this perspective. Imagine you've got people who are trying to make a key decision around dealing with you for a job, or it might be for buying from you, and they find two profiles online. They find one which is what you want to be known for. They type your name, and they find one which is about relevant to why they're considering working with you, and the other they find is which is unrelated, and they're like, hang on, and they start questioning, and they start saying, hang on, which is this the same person? If it is the same person, why are they doing separate things over here? And again, it creates that sort of confusion in their mind. So in my opinion, and what I always encourage people to do is to do exactly as Naomi said, which is to find a way of how it's a story that you go on, it's a journey, and how can you blend that in so that actually, so that if you've got two separate scenarios or it's two separate profiles, make sure that one sells the other and it makes relevance and it's congruent and it's actually justifies, not just justifies, but it can enhance people's perception of you. And that's the key thing, is that, and there's ways to do that. It's often what we cover in the LinkedIn Foundations course, because people say, oh, what about my branding? Should I be doing this? You should be doing that. We can give you very specific feedback and give you more constructive things in your particular situation. But for now, I'd encourage you to find ways to have one benefit the other.
And just to clarify, the story is not a book, it's just a paragraph.
Yes.
Or even 2 lines.
However, you can also use your experience to build on the story and the journey that you've gone through as well, because your experience often is a bit of a timeline of where you've come through over your career, and you can use that to effectively educate the journey that you're on. So,
cool. Well, it seems like that's all the questions. So we are coming up for exactly 1 hour.
Perfect. Well, thanks for sticking around, folks. I would, if you haven't done so already and you'd like to book a session with Naomi to sort of discuss your particular strategy or have a chat about any of the programs or courses and stuff that we do, feel free to do so. And the other thing I just mentioned is, and you can find all those details and book in a time immediately with Naomi at reallyconnect.com/accelerator and book in a session straight away. And the other thing you can do is stay in touch with us with the range of different groups and stuff that we have. So follow us on Twitter. We have a LinkedIn company page. We have a Facebook group. We have, and you can download a free copy of our book at reallyconnect.com. So, stay in touch with us. Definitely the LinkedIn company page. We have a lot of regular updates on things there. But I just want to say thank you for tuning in. Great to be in touch, and feel free to share this webinar and all this great stuff with other people. And thank you for your time, Naomi.
No problem. And the recording will go up online by
Very
the weekend.
soon.
We'll email you out and tell you when it's there, and share it with people. More people who know how to the social etiquette of LinkedIn, the more of a valuable experience we'll all be having.
Excellent. All right, guys. Thanks a lot. Take care.